Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Donny Chaingang. It looks a little bit different tonight. We've got Matt on yellow beacon duties, and I'm here in the studio today. So my name's Emma Payne. The Donny Chaingang is back up and running in our post-Christmas period, and I think we ought to swiftly jump in and see how our yellow beacon is feeling before we start tonight. Matt, are you there?
I am here, and hopefully you can hear me, which would always be a good start. Not got enough caffeine on board, must admit, but that's nothing new.
I thought I saw you take a coffee out into the garage with you earlier.
No, but I am going to take my winter woolies. I'm not quite sure which mean person subjected you to training in the garage, but it's absolutely Baltic out here.
I think when I was out there earlier, the temperature gauge was reading around 11 degrees. That's topically tropical in comparison to the 3 degrees we were on last week.
Yeah, it is, and it's still quite cold. I haven't actually turned the fan on yet. That's going to be my last job prior to starting. But I think with my slightly more increased bulk than you, it's going to make a big difference. I'm not sure you've switched on the main board. Desktop mute. Got me?
I've got you, Matt. Oh, yeah, see, Russ can hear you, so obviously it's going through to the right people. So, Matt, tell us a little bit about... Matt, we're in France tonight. I'll turn you up a little bit and we'll see how we go with that.
Okay, well, yeah, I don't do this shouting stuff very often. So, tonight, yeah, we are in France. We're on the... what is the Petit Boucle? It's a route that I wanted to include on the DCG for a long, long time. And my aim was always to try and make sure that we got the Petit Boucle at something that was actually a DCG-able distance, which is a lot harder than it sounds. So what we did is we played about for a long time, just changing the direction and looking at which way round we went. And in the end, with a lot of riding around France, we came up with the solution we have now. It's a little bit shorter than a normal DCG, which means a bit like a stage in the Tour de France. Hopefully, it's going to be a lot of action.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that pans out with the course that's in front. So we don't do the whole of the Petit Boucle. It's a part lap. A bit like me going to a coffee shop and stopping partway around the ride and hiding whilst you do hill intervals,
Thanks, Matt. So we are tonight, we're still part of our 12 DCGs of Christmas, and we've got a giveaway tonight. Matt, can you tell our members how they can take part in that giveaway?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting that we've changed how we've done it a number of times. Tonight, to make it a little bit easier to manage with all the changes around, tonight is going to be for members of the DCG gang only. And the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, is absolutely critical to the survival of the DCG. And it enables us to get the time in, to put the kit together, to make it work, you name it, and give the support to the members out there. So, to say thank you, we've got loads of giveaways. And tonight, the members in the members' email that all members of the DCG gang get are the details of what you need to do. So I hope you were reading it when you got it. And the aim is that you're going to have to send that in. Now, the key words, once we get going, that I will type on the screen are ho, 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 DCG. And the first of our members who type back the correct response on the email will be able to identify after the ride, because I'm not going to try and do it during the ride. And then we are going to be awarding 2 different prizes. Now, if you're a bloke, it's really easy. You need to be a large rider, and there's a set of Oakley bibs, an Oakley jersey, bib, shorts and jersey to go out. If you're one of our female riders, we're giving away the equivalent value, which is £100 of Oakley goodies in an Oakley goodie bag. So the male and female riders need to be ready with that email, and they can only send it once I've typed onto the message board, whilst riding and leading the chain for the first time, the words ho, 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 DCG. Anybody who sends it in early, guess what? Our commissaire team will disqualify them. And we've got Freya and Tim who are currently the riders who are the commissaires who are going to be watching our riders. So let's see how that pans out. But tonight's route should be go petite boucle, figure of 8, with basically a nice flat start, aqueduct climb, lots of bits and pieces. But I'll let you go through that because you've got a lot more detail than I have.
I have, and with just around 2 minutes 20 to go, Matt, I'm just going to leave you there and say we must have had nearly 200 DCGs now over the last year or so. Welcome to being the Yellow Beacon, and I hope you enjoy the ride.
Thank you very much.
We'll catch up with you later. Okay, so as Matt gets himself ready as Yellow Beacon for tonight's ride and our last few riders join the gang, let's take a little look closer at where we are with our map today. So the Donny Chaingang today, on the 28th of December, we are in France at Petit Boucle. And we have the map as normal on the right-hand side of the screen with a lead-in today of around 1k. As Matt was chatting about, we're only on part lap today. We're not on a full lap, and that part lap's distance is 35.3k, which gives us a finish at the pavé sprint arch of 36.3k. Yeah, I'm going to say that again because the number of times as Yellow Beacon you get asked, where's the finish? The finish is at the pavé sprint arch at 36.3k. We've got a 2.k warm down to the blue banner. And in total tonight, our riders are going to ride around 264 metres in height gain. Our red beacon this evening is Rich Orrell. Rich, as ever, as our good tradition of our red beacons, has already been picking up pictures all over the Donny Chaingang Facebook page of his red bus tonight, and it's well stocked. So let's take a little look in a little bit more detail on the profile from VeloViewer powered by Strava of tonight's route. So we are in the Petit Boucle and we've got a pretty flat run in for about the first 12k. So a really great piece of action in terms of keeping that pack together. A nice easy job for our new Yellow Beacon. We then run into the Aqueduct Quam, down through the Ballon Sprint, and then we run down through the gorge, through the roller coasters before we start our climb just before the 25k mark tonight. As we head up the climb, we're then dropping back down and descending to the 30k point, and then we've got a 6k left as we run into the Aqueduct Quam and then straight through into our final pavé sprint, which is where we're going to finish. So it's about time the start banner is gone that we click into tonight's action. Look at that. Everyone's being really polite and letting Matt roll off the start line as the Yellow Beacon in front tonight. I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. Definitely not when myself or Russ or Jimmy have been Yellow Beacon. But Matt was given the honours there to roll out the start line. And we can see the group rolling out behind him. Okay, I'm loving the way that Russ is already on the blob versus snake, which is great on the chat. But as we can see, Russ is quite right here. We've got a really big snake, and you can see up on top of the right-hand corner of your screen, you've got a great view of all the riders there. And as we're riding in with the Yellow Beacon at the moment, we've got a lot of riders. We've got over 100 riders this evening as we're rolling out on that start line. So, going to drop back to the back of the pack at the moment, and whilst Matt is calling the group to arms in terms of bringing up her blob, we've dropped back in with Rich Orrell, who's our red beacon tonight. And we can see at the moment that actually that red beacon is already about 25 seconds back, as Matt puts a call out to bring the group down to sub 2 watts per kilo to actually put that blob together and bring those riders back on. It's always one of the danger areas riding off the start line, as we try and keep that blob together and get that pack in a group. I have to say, the fun bit of this here stood here is I'm not quite sure. Okay, come on, let's get back in. There we go. Let's get back into the action now. So I'm not quite sure who has the hardest job tonight. Me trying to control the screen here and making sure that we are in with the action, or Matt actually in with the blob, or in with the group trying to make it blob up and control the pace. It looks like we've got a lot of new riders on tonight, people coming back in after Christmas, and it's that festive spirit by the look of it that's already going on. So we are going to drop in with a number of our riders. Who have we got in here tonight? Let's have a little look. So we are currently just in with Adi Dench. So somebody who I know has been out and about in the Peak District this morning. So obviously on his second ride of the day in with the bunch. So as we can see, there's a few splits still in this pack, but it's slowly coming back together again. If we can, I'm just going to try and see if we can get ourselves up and above this group. Okay. Whoop. Look at that. See, now Matt's introduction of the drone cam has been haha! Success! We have a picture of Adi. So let's wander on, shall we, and see who else we can jump in with as we go through the pack here. So as we all know, a blob is better than a snake, and we're still quite snake-like as we're rolling through. So with Matt's continuous call at the moment to bring the front back to yellow. So let's remember the key rule of the Chaingang. Yep, if you can't read the messages on your screen, stay around yellow. Yellow is the place you need to be. So at the moment we've got a long drawn out snaking group with a group on the front there. And we know what will happen. Matt won't call the go, go, go till we've got everybody together. So let's bring that group back together. Okay, so we're slowly pulling the back of the group together towards the red and the yellow coming together. So it's now the front that needs to come back. So let's take it steady on the front and make that a really good blob on that screen. Okay, so we're currently in with Miss Cookie, a DCG regular who's sitting nice and comfy in that pack around yellow. Pulling that group back. Okay, so as that group is slowly coming back together again, let's drop in with Matt as his check out what his first experience of being Yellow Beacon has been like. Are you there, Matt?
I am indeed. Nicely tapping along, just watching the group in my rearview mirror. It's key number 6 is my favourite key, as Russ said it would be, and you did as well. So it is definitely fun. It's quite interesting, really, because I've been on the other side and I'm listening to your commentary and I'm thinking, yeah, you're like, you're going, let's get it together, and you're thinking, yeah, it's going to take its time. It's really, really funny being on the other side of the screen, that's for sure.
Oh, tell me about it. I'm not quite sure how you press all these buttons, watch the action and then talk. I'm so intent on watching what's going on, I forget to actually speak.
It's it's a different thing, isn't it? I mean, fortunately, I don't have any keys to press with my feet when we're commentating. It is all just fingers. It is a bit like playing the piano, as you've discovered. So we'll see whether we should have one in the house rather than a whole load of guitars. But at the moment, it's a pretty smooth group at the moment. Remember, of course, we've got the Aqueduct KOM as a little bit of a kicker once we head back inland, but it's just starting to roll together. I'm just trying to keep an eye on the red beacon simultaneously, which is always entertaining. It looks pretty smooth, but Mr. Old just sitting on the back.
Yeah, the Red Beacon group of Rich and Craig Genther are just sitting comfortably on the back and about 10 seconds away from you. And actually, the group is doing a really good job now of coming together.
Yeah, we're all nicely rolling under two. And I noticed I've got, that's got to be Nick Dorsey in front of me in that nice kit, just rolling through in front. It definitely is the best dressed man in cycling, that's for sure.
Oh, you see, now you get to mingle amongst them, Matt, and make your choices. So I did notice your kit tonight. Your kit tonight is very yellow, so nobody's going to miss you.
Well, you know, if you're going to do the job, you've got to do it right. It's whether it's the commentary and or whether it's the yellow beacon or whether it's doing the key. So, doing the ticketing and whatever. And we've always tried that on the Donny Chaingang. And I've got to say, surrounded by the team that we have, Russ and I, I've got to say a massive thank you. Jimmy Allen, who's alongside me actually at the moment in the group, just ticking along at 1.6 at the back of the pack with me. Does an amazing job jumping in for Russ. Russ, of course, we know can lead in his sleep and is the pro. And don't forget, of course, yourself and people like Gail doing the red beacon, yourself doing the Wild DCG, and all of our red beacons, in fact, who Gail stitches together, and the red beacons on the Wild DCG, all of the people that make this a gang that we're really, really proud of, not something that is, just hard work because we just stopped doing it. But it's because people are just amazing, and the things they've done, looking after the riders, and looking after everybody out there, whether that's in real life or in the virtual world, that has made the gang what it is, and that is why Russ does it, why I do it, why we all do it, because of the community. It's nothing else.
That's it, isn't it, Matt? I'm going to leave you there because at the moment you've got a couple of riders just dropped off the back by a few seconds.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit like that, but I've got to admit we're sat at the back of the group, rolling along quite nicely at the moment at about 1.8, 1.7 watts per kilo. So this is definitely my kind of pace, I must admit. And the front is coming back towards us, which is good. Everybody's on different form, different amounts of mince pies, different amounts of champagne, stroke, whatever else you were doing over Christmas. Some people weren't drinking at all. Some of us were doing some very emergency panic training for maybe a little bit later on in the ride. That's for sure.
That's it, right, Matt? We'll catch you in a bit. And I think as Matt just mentions there, I think we've all had very different experiences over Christmas. I know some of our riders who are in on the Chaingang tonight have had very unfortunate Christmases, testing positive for COVID. I've spotted Sammy Stewart in there already this evening, and unfortunately she's one of our riders who's on recovery along with others. So whether you've been living the high life on the champagne or whether you've been recovering, it's great to see everybody on the Chaingang tonight. And as we can see by the camera shot there, that pack is actually coming together really nicely in what looks like a good blob of riders. So likewise, as well as offering something for everybody over the Christmas period, there's also a whole wide range of different riders on the gang tonight, and a whole range of different ages, from our young riders like Ruby Isaac right the way through to our older riders as well. There's something for everybody, which is absolutely brilliant. In fact, let's jump in with Ruby. She's sat at the front of the pack here. In fact, perfect timing as she rolls right the way through to the front. And indeed, Ruby is one of our young riders who, as Matt has just mentioned there, we've often seen juggling or even wrapping presents on the rollers. Now, as somebody who struggles to ride the rollers and much prefers the turbo trainer, it's an amazing feat that she does. So we are 10k into tonight's Chaingang and 17 minutes have gone, and the pack is now all together and rolling through the flatlands as we travel across France. We're currently in with Darren Topless of Pine Cycles, and we can see he's comfortably sat there, I think, with a heart rate of around 121, though the variations in people's heart rates always really fascinate me in terms of these. If we cross through a few others, we've got Sonia Inslee from Bolsover and District sitting at 136. I'm wondering whether Matt's got his heart rate monitor on now. Simon Runnett is down at 109. My gosh, I'd have to almost be stationary to be down at 109. I look at my bike and my heart rate jumps to 115. Ruth Taylor's sitting at 116 beats per minute. James Woodbridge, 126. Carl Johnson, 133. It's looking at the moment like there's some nice, steady, easy pace going on for everybody. Heart rate bingo. Whose is the highest? It's an interesting one, isn't it? And I've just jumped in with, I've just found Matt and jumped in with him, and he's sat there at 134 beats a minute. So we... So as the group winds its way up through France, our yellow beacon for the evening is sat on the back of that bunch and just letting it wind its way up through the flatlands. And there is, of course, that interesting question of, after having commentated on so many Donny Chaingangs, at what point will Matt Payne give the go, go, go? Because that'll be an interesting one to see as to what his thoughts are around where that should take place. But I think what we're noticing here as we're moving through this slightly more undulating section, and we've just started to go uphill here, is that the brakes can form really easy on this course. So watching that group in front and maintaining a steady watts per kilo output is really key. With such a large group of riders, the draft effect is really strong, and yep, very close to splitting or pulling it back together. And that group looks as though it's coming back together nice and slowly. as it stretches out. And one of the things we've got to be really mindful here as we come up onto this aqueduct is once that front group of riders get up and over that aqueduct and they start on the descent afterwards, they'll really pull away from this group. So keeping this nice and tight is really key at the moment. Pulling it back together again on the downhill on the other side is really tricky. Okay, so we're up at the front now with Craig Herring, and we can see actually the numbers up here aren't that strong, but it's so easy to stretch this group out on the climbs. Nice and steady on the front, and then that'll allow the back to come back together again. Okay, and Matt puts out a call for the front of the group to drop to sub 2.5 watts per kilo, please. Let's try and bring that group back together as we start to see some breaks on that descent as we thought we would. Lots of calls going out for the front to soft pedal, and I'm going to head back and head in with our Red Beacon Rich at the moment, and coming up that aqueduct climb with Craig Genther as well out the back there in terms of up and under the bridge and through, and a small little group there pulling it all together. Working our way back up through the pack. As the yellow beacon puts out another call for the front to drop to sub 2, so that yellow beacon group can close that gap. It takes some time on this course, you know, as we just said, anything going up and over that aqueduct climb and then dropping. Once you head over that drop, that draft just takes the group so quickly, and we start to see those splits coming. And look at that. There we go. We're starting to see that group come back together again now, and that blob get much tighter, which is just what we want. I'm loving that, Craig. Don't poke the pain rather than don't poke the bear. Okay, looking at that group, we've now got our yellow beacon at the back, and we've got a nice blob forming, which is superb as we've come down that. And the call's gone out to hold that for the next few K without a break. Oh, Vin's on it now. What hashtag is he going to come up with next? Okay, so we are just under 17k done of our chain gang this evening. With our finish tonight at 36.3k at the Pavé Sprint Arch. Just putting that call out there for all of you who were asking the question, where is the finish line tonight? So we've got a tight bunch of riders now, all grouped together as we roll through, coming up to half an hour done tonight. And we are currently in with Stefano Borelli from Nonnas, who I understand has been exceptionally busy with chain gang members. It's good of Jimmy to notice that. Matt currently is off the back at the moment. So our look at that. He's picking it up and he's pulling it through. So our yellow beacon, for some reason then, I don't know whether that was a dropout or what that had gone on there, but he just dropped off the back and is now coming back up to the group. Okay, he's back and he's in there. This would be one of those really unopportune moments to open the mic and have a quick chat with Matt, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. How are you, Matt? That was a nice little bit of an effort to get back up onto the group.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, we had a little bit of a tech issue. I love your computer, not. It has to be said. I just managed to get back into the front, so apologies if you're watching live. The perils of switching where you normally Zwift to where you don't normally Zwift. When we came up with this bright idea, we all said, oh, it'd be really easy. This would just swap over bikes and I'd just jump over. No, it doesn't quite work like that because we've got so much kit to move about, and it does mean I'm not in my normal spot. on the normal computer with the normal keyboard, so very easy to hit the wrong piece, which is what happened there. So totally user error, but easy done. The group's going well together. Really pleased with how it's all come back together. We're just going to be really careful on this. I know we're starting to lose riders off the back, but looking at the maps, looks like our red beacon is not too far behind at the moment. So if we can stay that way, keep them reasonably close, that'd be really good. We've got the Ballon sprint that's got to just come through. We drop down the gorge, which is a real roller coaster. That's supposed to be really hard for everyone to stay together. And it's all about holding that pace and keeping off the front. To go on the front, you just wide it and wide it and wide it. And then the guys at the back have an absolute nightmare trying to get back on again. I'm fairly lucky. The way my body works, it allows me to screw up big style and still sprint a few times to get back onto the back of the group. But not everybody can do that. Now it does take a little bit longer. So nice and steady into the gorge, through the gorge on the roller coaster, and we're going to go on to the climb. And of course, we've still got the giveaway on the DCG gang, so that's not going to be too far, mostly because I'm running out of breath.
All right then, Matt, we'll let you get back to it because there's still a lot to do.
Yeah, don't tell me about it.
Oh, and Matt has launched it. Matt has launched the competition. The Ho 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 DCG call has gone out. And I bet he had that already typed when I came to him. Yeah, that's it, Craig. You see, he had that waiting and it wasn't planned, I guarantee. But definitely sneaky, I agree. So our competition has been launched, and I'm sure after the event tonight, Matt will announce the winner on our Facebook page. But as he's currently indicating, it was not the go. It was not the go. Not to release the riders. That was the 12 Donny DCGs of Xmas. So let's keep that group together. Okay. Okay, so a call from the Yellow Beacon, trying to bring the groups back together again and just stop the group from splitting. And we're dropping in with Ross Downing, our One of our normal yellow beacons. Russ taking it nice and steady there. Look at that heart rate, under 100 beats a minute. I think we might see something a little bit different when it gets wound up a little bit later tonight. I'm loving the fact that Russ Standing is enjoying this, and that you need to be really careful, because I've been on many a bike ride with Matt Payne outdoors, and yes, the only thing that is regular in every single bike ride is that he stops for a coffee. We really don't want to stop for a coffee tonight. Okay, and the call has gone out from our yellow beacon to lift the pace to 3 watts per kilo. Obviously, all that talk of Stella and coffee has got the legs working. As we're working our way up the group. And as we start to head up the climb, we've jumped in with Greg Booker, not shy when it comes to a hill climb. And our yellow beacon is called the Go, Go, Go. We've just started the climb and the Go, Go, Go has gone. And all of a sudden the orange numbers are coming out. Yeah, yellow beacon's leading it out and shouting in joy for all to see. As Russ jumps into the lead group as they head off down the road. So we can see the group spreading out now, and Kieran Brown's gone off the front of the group and has a small gap of around 3 seconds at the moment. So we're currently sat in with Kieran. We've got a bit of a gap back at the moment, and he's extended that lead to around 5 seconds back as he's pushing on. Question is the group behind going to do anything about this? The group behind's currently at around 7 seconds and quite split actually by the look of it. Let's drop in with that group back behind and actually take a look from their perspective. So there's not a concerted effort, and Kieran is now extending his lead out to coming up to 12 seconds. We've got one chaser in Matt Gilmore, but Kieran is continuing that extension. So Matt Gilmore puts in some power there to try and close that gap to Kieran, but Kieran is still holding that 4-second lead at the moment, with the pack 10, 11, 12 seconds back. So there's some gaps going out here. Now, if these two riders could get together and actually work together, they might stand a better chance of staying away, but a pack coming at them on the descent after this climb could do some catching. That said, this pack seemed quite comfortable to let them go. So Ross has jumped to the front of the pack now and has taken charge of the group, but even he's sat back up now too, as Kieran's lead is now extending to 41 seconds, and actually Gilmore has also sat up as well. So Kieran is out front now on his own, and let's see where... There's a call now for that group to work together, and they're going to need to, because Kieran Brown's gap now up this climb is over 40 seconds now back to that chasing group, with only Matt Gilmore in the middle between the two. And actually the gap back to Matt is now 30 seconds. So Kieran is really putting in a massive effort on this climb. Okay, so we're back to the chasing group. On the road. And this is absolutely split up on this climb. We're absolutely back to groups in groups as we go back down through this pack. This climb has absolutely shattered this group. So now we're back to 2s and 3s on the road and small groups. And this is that point where you need to find a small group that you can work with, because small groups will catch each other and become bigger groups. And that's going to be particularly important on the descent on the other side of this climb and the flat and the sprint to the end. This course has absolutely decimated everybody. Look at that. If we can pull that map out of the top, you can see 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, small groups everywhere, spattered all the way across this hillside. To bring this back together again into small groups is actually what it's going to need to actually start picking some people off. And we jump back in with our lead rider at Kieran. Where are that chasing group? The numbers are coming down and the time's coming down between Kieran and the group behind. But there they are, just coming around the corner at the back end of the screen. So actually they're going to come round this corner and they're going to have Kieran in sight now. And this is where Kieran needed a couple of riders with him to actually this flat section into the Aqueduct, Quam and the sprint. Because this group are actually going to make the catch, I think, now. So we're now at 3-4 seconds. It's coming down as that group come through. So we have less than 4k to go now till the sprint arch. And this group are all going to come back together now. And Kieran's going to be caught. So look at that, and that front pack all come together now, and there's a group there of around 20 riders. Let's take a look and actually see who's in here. So we've got a selection of riders in the group from Russ Downing on a free ride tonight from No Yellow Beacon to Greg Booker to Kieran, who's been out front for all of the climb. Matt's already making bets on who he thinks going to win the sprint, but Becky Story is in there as well, so it's a good group. Okay. And with around 2.2k to go, we're watching Kai Davis as he comes up through that aqueduct quam, and now he's got company as Russ Downing joins him with two riders at the front, and there's a cheeky little wave there just acknowledging Russ jumping on his back wheel. Greg Booker joins them, and there's forming a group of three back to the rest of that group. I can't believe these guys have actually got time to carry on chatting and typing on the keyboard. And can that group of three now stay out front until they come through that arch in just over a k's time? We've got 4 seconds to the gap behind, and we've got the likes of Brown and Story and Hepton and Mayer and in there. Can they work together and bring this back? It looks like this group is now going to come back together once again. So we've had different riders go off the front and the group still comes back. So it's a group of riders going in here, and we've got an attack going in at the moment, and we can see the numbers starting to shoot up. So this is looking like it's going to be a sprint at the finish unless somebody can get clear of this group before we get there. And there's not long now before we get there. We've got 500 metres left to go in the run into this sprint. And we've got some big numbers coming in off the front at the moment, and Dale is off the front and he's clear. Followed by the group coming in. So we're back in with the Yellow Beacon group now coming into the finish. And we've got a sprint going on here, and we've got some numbers coming out. Craig Herring's up at 12 watts a kilo, Matt Gilord at 12, and we're in and we're through. So back out on the road now with the next pack coming in. And this is a big group coming into the sprint now, and Vin's really taking it out on the front. Is he going to make it all the way, or are they going to nip him on the line? Oh, that was close. Okay, let's go back out and pull out the next group coming in. So those ones and twos out on that climb have actually formed small groups now in terms of coming into the line, which makes for a lot of really interesting sprinting. Get that. And the groups are now coming in and rolling through quite quickly here. So coming back out to the next pack coming through. So I think Darren's going to take this group, rolling it over the line, and we've already got the kick coming from behind from Sammy Stewart, who's obviously feeling a little bit better, leaving Chloe just in her wake coming through on that line. We're heading back out, and there's some ones and twos coming through on the road. And the next group there's got... got Sonia Inslee sat in there with a small group of riders who are going to need to watch, because Sonia has well known to always finish her ride with a sprint. This group are coming in very comfortably. I think we're just going to see them roll across the line. I think I'm witnessing two firsts. A first of Matt Payne as the yellow beacon on the Donny Chaingang, and the first time I've seen Sonia not sprint. Look at that, she's gonna... Oh, I thought Sonia was... Oh, she's... They just couldn't control themselves, they just had to, didn't they? And I think whilst we wait for the next couple of riders to come through, I am going to open up the mic and see if we've got our yellow beacon there. Are you there, Matt?
I am, just about, one way or another.
Have you survived?
Yeah, you might have a bit of a puddle in your training room.
Oh, have you sweated on my floor?
I'm afraid I have. It might have something to do with not having the fan on all the way through. But I couldn't stop to turn it on because I'd have been in trouble. The temperature is a little bit warmer though. It's at least gone up about half a degree. What a group tonight. That was a great gang. Just got to say well done to everybody who's been out on the course today. It's not a group that is easy for the groups to stay together, and it was deliberately designed to make life hard and make people watch and learn to ride as a gang and ride as a group, but then to split the group and then to see just how well people could reform. And I got to say, I've been watching the front, the middle, and the back, as well as my group that I was in with Jess Learmonth. Not every day you get to ride with somebody of her calibre, I have to say. And it just was amazing to see everybody working together, getting back into groups, and it shows, we're in. We've done, like you said, well over 200 DCGs now, and people are working together really, really well. I'm just watching.
We're watching Miss Cookie and Steve Cannon come in, and I'm wondering who's going to wind up for the sprint first, because they're rolling in quite nicely together here.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I tell you something, Miss Cookie really digs into it. Really, really, I've got to say, I'm really proud to know her in real life as well as on Swift. And
she's
not some great company there.
I thought for a second then I was about to see some warts come out there, and she wasn't going to let him have it. But yeah, so
another winder, which is great, and that's what it's all about. It doesn't matter. The chain gang is great watching the front. It's not about who comes over the line first, much as we might focus on it. It's about those individual gains of performances. And with the ride leaders, did an amazing job. And, my very poor efforts today is definitely a reason why I stay behind the mic, that's for sure. But I've got to say, the leaders, they're ramping it up. We're getting people getting ride after ride, getting personal best after personal best on the way through. Getting power best, and that's what we want. I mean, we've got Jim on his way into the finish now, and Jim, a rider who we know is going to dig deep, he's going to push all the way into that line, and he's one of the people I really love to see riding, just so strong. You just know that you can keep kicking that pace out all day long.
That's it, isn't it? And it's fantastic to watch our riders join the DCG and improve no end, and just keep coming back, because the social and the community element is just instrumental to what it does.
It is definitely, and it's been really, really nice to be able to jump in, to know that the Red Beacon, I could let Rich do his job. He was going to look after everybody, but I knew that he was going to be more than capable. He didn't need me micromanaging him in the slightest. He's more than capable of keeping it all together and getting it absolutely superb, and just doing an amazing job out there.
Yep.
I can't imagine it's going to be long until that Red Beacon comes in.
No, we've just seen Ruby come over the line, and now we're back sat in with Rich Orrell and Craig Genther, who are Red Beacon rolling across the line, and they're rolling down towards the finish. So it's not going to be long at all until everybody's over that line. So then, Matt, I have to say I'm very much looking forward to being back as Yellow Beacon tomorrow. After having tried to spend the evening in the old beer cellar studios with all your equipment down here, I'm not sure which button I've pressed or which mic I've had open. So I'm going to be very happy to head back out to my pain cave tomorrow and my duties as Yellow Beacon. Hopefully, you're now looking forward to getting back in the studio.
No, not at all. I wasn't from Rideable. The DCG is all about the race, it's about our riders, it's about that community, and very proud to be part of the team that come together to make that happen. And we've got to say, amazing riding, and exemplified by our Red Beacons, our Yellow Beacons. The guys doing the work. And yes, I stand in the studio and press the buttons, but I tell you something, I'd much rather be out there with all the gang. I certainly burnt off plenty of mince pies tonight on the way around, but. I am definitely looking forward to seeing you back in your new normal role, back on the gang, and riding once again as our Yellow Beacon.
Yeah, which is, I think, whilst we've just been chatting, I've just witnessed Craig Genther put in a little kick and leave the Red Beacon. I'm not sure that that's allowed, really. Look at that.
No, I'm trying to work out whereabouts they are, to be honest.
They've just come in over the top of the aqueduct and are just about to go through the aqueduct quam before they run down into the pavé sprint. And Craig has gone for it. He has indeed left Rich and has put a 6-second gap on the Red Beacon.
Well, Craig Genther is definitely one of our really, really...
That's what friends are for.
I'm loving the response from the rest of the gang there. As they make their way in, just watching Craig's gone for that, and I'm hoping Rich is going to be able to pull him back, but there's a bit of a gap in there.
I don't know.
Seconds at the moment.
I'm looking at the numbers, working out whether Craig's about to sit up now and wait for Rich, or whether he's going to push on.
Oh, it's coming down 5 seconds. Oh, it's going to get tight. Hey, look at the numbers coming out. Rich was doing 5.5.
I know, he's pushing on, he's not having it.
Yeah, I don't blame him. It's definitely one of those routes which, it was designed to catch people back. I know Dale. I'm quite pleased with my prediction. Dale Williams, he's got this down to a T. He's got the sprint on him, and he gets. He's gone. He actually took the victory here last time. He's got 2 out of 2 on this course now. And last time, it literally was the last few metres where he rolled Damien Clayton. To be honest, we might see that again here because Craig's gone off the front, but Rich Howell's got the numbers. He could well roll him just as they come in towards the line. So great to see the riders doing such an amazing job.
Indeed, they're coming up with 800 metres to go. And I've noticed Craig's just started to pick his pace back up again because Rich is coming right up close to his wheel.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't want to actually be on the front here. As you come into the turns into the bends of the village, you need to be sitting just behind, and then once you start to go into the actual houses, that's when you need to kick hard. Kick early like
that. I think
he's got him on, and it's going to be close.
He's listening to you. So Craig has gone for a big kick. Look at that. And up and over. It is, isn't it? I don't think Rich is going to respond. Or if he does, he needs to go now. Are we allowed to do a private go, go, go?
Yeah, we definitely can. So go, go, go to Rich. Go, go, go. Craig, fantastic riding, guys.
Fantastic effort by Craig and a great job on Red Beacon tonight by Rich Orrell. So thank you ever so much, guys. And thank you for producing a great and interesting little finish there for us too.
Definitely a great finish, and I'm going to get myself over the final few metres. I'm stopped about 100 metres from the line, just waiting to see everybody on the way through. So I've got to say well done to all the gang. Thank you very much, Emma, for stepping in and diving into the studio for me as we see our Red Beacon on his way through town. I've got to say it's been great fun riding it, and hopefully I'll be able to do the same again next year, because it does at least mean I don't eat too many mince pies over Christmas.
Indeed, indeed. Thanks ever so much, Matt. We'll catch you later. Okay, so as our riders warm down and stretch their legs until they warm down to the blue banner, that comes to the end of our broadcast this evening. So thank you ever so much for joining us. It's been a strange one this evening with a lot of role reversal going on. I'm looking forward to being on the women's DCG tomorrow night and being back on my bike in the customary yellow outfit. So I will see you then. Thanks ever so much for joining us.